Hello, everybody in Facebook world and beyond. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Insiders with myself, Liz, and my beautiful colleague, Amber. We are brought to you by Giant TV, and we are just so excited today because we're going to be talking about a subject that, for those of you who are, insightful psychic medium healers, empaths, whatever you fall on under the umbrella of spiritual, you are likely experiencing the psychic crash. And we refer to the psychic crash as a moment where you have overindulged on energy, food, people, you name it. And so what happens is our energy just goes, forget about it. We're tapping out now. And it can create such chaos for us. We can go into depression, anger, the mood swings are endless. So without further ado, Amber, have you experienced this at all?
Beauty. Yes, I have. So especially around times that there's a heightened excitement or heightened fear. My cat's going a little wild. So we're starting to talk energy, and now the cats are going crazy. It wouldn't be a show without the cats.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
That's going crazy. But yes, I have had the spiritual crash, and I can even say I had one last week where just a lot of energy work happening, a lot of connection emotionally and spiritually. And so, it can kind of be the thing people don't talk about, right? Because in terms of like how I've been working over the years is I work with people on how do you connect to energy? And you're also trying to where do you stop and I begin, right? And so then when we're looking at things in order to kind of soften that, what do? We look for sugar, we look for caffeine, we look for drugs, we look for alcohol. So those are things that some people might gravitate towards in order to soften it, or to, what do we call that? Like actually just bury it.
Yeah. Well, appease it, right? Like you've got a craving for energy, like you're craving like to be refilled. And so we'll lean on, like, my go-to obviously is sugar. I can crush, a couple of chocolate bars and feel like immediately I feel that, but then I'm like, I'm crazy after that. And I know it's going to happen. And yet I do it anyway. And this is one of those weird phenomena, right? That we kind of, it's like we're completely like in tune that it's not good for us. So if you're drinking, if you're going to drink alcohol, you know that you're not going to feel good after. If you're doing drugs, you know it's not going to serve you. Or caffeine. Well, caffeine's my other go-to. Hello. Mind you, I do drink decaf. I have switched to decaf over the last year. However, there's still caffeine in there, right? So it's one of those, your whole body just feels terrible when we do indulge. And so being hypersensitive or conscious that, you've got to try other avenues. So a brisk walk out in the fresh, cool air is awesome. I find that's one of my go-tos. What about you, Amber?
Yeah, absolutely. I like to go for a walk as well. I like to clear my energy by doing a clearing meditation. And I like to call in my angels and my spiritual team for support. And on times when I feel like I can't, here's the deal. So we go and we do all of these things, right? We get all of this fix wherever we can get it, right? I'm chocolate, salt and vinegar chips, Diet Pepsi, like just the poster girl for everything you're not supposed to do when you're a highly spiritual person. Yeah. However, you do have to get that. That's that craving. So we've done all this. Then all of a sudden we've got this, that we're talking about this crash where your energy as a highly sensitive person is going to have to be expended one way, shape, or form or another. So as a highly sensitive person, you end up getting that response of, okay, I feel like I can get motivated to do this, but then all of a sudden I feel like maybe 5 hours later, you're picking a fight with your partner because they didn't do something 2 weeks ago. That anger, rage, disappointment, sadness, happiness, like all those things will come out in this highly sensitive person's experience. So on the days that I feel no motivation whatsoever to get my butt outside to go for a walk, I have to call in my spiritual team while I'm laying on the couch. I'm like, I need somebody to help me get motivated. So the spiritual team works for me as my like 911. Like help.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. You know what? I should say that I call on them more than I go for brisk walks.
It's true though, because it's easier.
Yeah.
It's the easier thing to do if you remember to do it. That's the problem. Most of you out there, including us, will be like, wait, why did we wait so long to call in our spiritual team when it was that easy? Like I didn't have to suffer that long. And then so you forget that they're just like literally an instant away.
Yeah, exactly. So I pulled up the screen. So I apologize for looking down on you. I was paying attention just to kind of see if anybody else is kind of dealing with the same kind of thing. And, we talk about Christmas or the holidays, right? We shouldn't just terminology because there's many holidays happening over this time frame. But it is an intense time anyway. Add on to it the pandemic that's happening in the world and our own personal, people have experienced personal challenges. So for a lot of people right now, it's financial, job security, you name it. So add all of those on to the normal every day-to-day things. And so you're all likely experiencing this. Those of you watching this, you've been drawn to watch this for this reason or listen to this on the podcast. So, taking that 5 minutes and doing a meditation. And, for those of you who don't, I'm not the kind of person that sits down with my legs crossed and goes, I can't do that. I cannot do silence. Silence and me don't work unless I'm in the woods. Then I can handle that. But sitting in my house, I just can't do the silence thing in my head. So I'll do a guided meditation. And there's a lot of great ones online. My go-to, Amber, and I'd like you to share yours, but my go-to is a website called www.fragrantheart.com, fragrant like the smell, heart like your ticker. And she has done an incredible job of creating a ton of like hundreds of free guided meditations. And there's got to be something in there you can handle. So, an energy clearing or a chakra clearing, something like that meditation is the perfect go-to. And if you're not near a computer, because I'm going to get Amber to share hers in a minute. If you're not near a computer and you don't have your phone, it's the battery's dead or whatever, just get silent for a second and just ask your guides to come in and help you clear this unwanted energy or help you boost your energy. You can ground yourself. That's another, we've talked about grounding before. So get mindful that this is actually just you being highly sensitive to the extra energies that are happening around you, and fix you. Don't worry about anybody else at this moment. Fix you and focus on you. So what would you use for a meditation, Amber?
Okay. So interestingly enough, I create my own meditations in my
I love it.
I just kind of go where I'm being guided to do, but on days that I'm actually needing some, extra outside guidance, I tend to just listen to Lisa Beachy. Lisa Beachy has a lot of really good, quick meditations. And I think she calls them meditations for moms because they're super quick. They're like, some are 5 minutes, some are 3 minutes, some are an hour and a half. But those are the ones that I feel like, okay, I can do this because I need somebody to walk me through it because I'm having trouble focusing. But usually I'm going to say 9.5 times out of 10, I just create my own guided meditation within my own spiritual team and then just go through that. And I've come up with some pretty cool ones over the years, which is like so awesome because I need help with my creativity. So my sacral chakra really opens in that time. And I always find like it's so interesting to see those things coming in that you can't just think of. Like, I don't think of these things. I don't even know what they look like. And all of a sudden they're coming into my mind's eye.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's so amazing when you do take the time for you and learn to have that inner focus. Obviously with the support and help of your guides and your spirit team, it just does open you to new and wonderful things.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what this whole journey of living is about, right? So, we could be dealing with the most horrific situation in life, a loss, a loss of a job, a partner, a friend, or a family member. And that is a very deep rooted, painful experience. This time of year highlights our losses even more because we feel like we're going to be missing them during this holiday season. So it's so important as a sensitive to be hypersensitive to your own needs. We're all guilty of putting others first. We just are, right? Like we tend to do that, and we tend to put ourselves at the back of the line, and it's not working. It doesn't work, and it's never worked. So resorting to the chocolate or the alcohol or the drugs, or anything that's not good for you energetically, it's a quick default. And I'm just going to quickly scan through because I saw a post here, Vanessa. Oh, there goes my phone. I apologize. Vanessa says, I always know I'm in my crash because I want chocolate, chips, and candy in the same sitting. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Hello. If
Yeah.
you were to see some days where I sit down in my family room and along the top of my couch, my husband will come home and he'll say, rough day. Just by judging, like, my kids and my husband will know, like, oh, she's lined up her, chips, her candy, her whatever.
Exactly. I have a joke with the lady at the local store. She's like, oh, one of those days, eh? And I'm like, yeah, it was one of those days. So yeah, it's funny how people just recognize, right? And then you've got Melinda Mel saying, this kind of stuff happens to me more often than not. I wait until I'm really not doing well to ask for help. This is, and so, I actually went for hypnotherapy to curb my chocolate addiction because it was bad. Like I had to have it daily. Like it was that bad. And I remember thinking like, okay, I connect with the idea that I have a chocolate addiction. Never did I connect to the idea that I have a tobacco addiction or a caffeine addiction or anything. So I went to a hypnotherapist to curb my chocolate addiction. How ridiculous is that? But it worked. It did work. So I'm suggesting that you're, being consciously aware that you're waiting to the last minute to serve self, Melinda. That is a big red flag for you, that it is time for you to tune back into self. Like more than ever, you got to get on your own boat. Like it's so important, right, Amber?
Absolutely. You gotta advocate for yourself. You have to be able to feel like your awareness, like you were saying, like never did you put it together that you might have an addiction to other things. I think that what tells us is that you felt like that was the thing that you shouldn't be doing. That was the thing that you knew that, okay, these are my routines, but this is the thing I go to when I
That's totally it.
I need it, right? But I am always all for everything in moderation. So, I'm never gonna not want my diet pop or my chips or my chocolate, and that's okay. It's just knowing that when you're in that kind of heightened state, that as a highly sensitive person, you're not going to come off that like somebody who might be kind of guarded against energy. You're going to go through a whole different ball of wax. So recently I've been taking that accountability of, do I really want to, go through that whole energetic crash cycle and go through that spiritual energy crash? Or do I just want to figure out how to kind of cope with it before it gets to the part where your energy is drained? And that's where that regular self-care, and like you had said earlier, putting ourselves last has never worked, and it's not going to work. And what we have learned about this year in particular is we're still not doing the self-care. We're still not taking, care of number one. So when you become energetically drained, you're opening yourselves up to injury, illness, all of these different things, because the vibration that vibrates higher is all those positive energy things like joy, bliss, happiness, gratitude. And injury and illness can't sustain in that heightened vibration.
Right.
So you always want to make sure you're doing the prevention. So for instance, and you tell me what you do, but I go for a drive almost every day to get out of this house, to be able to feel like I'm, able to meditate or think or whatever. I listen to music. We talked about the walks, but those things are more like I have to do them daily to sustain my energy. So what do you do that's like your self-care routine?
Yeah. So I definitely listen to music, and I will get outside regardless of the weather. Like I will go out in the backyard. I feed my birds, so I have a very strong connection to my feathered and furred babies in the backyard. So I do that routine, and that's kind of like a 5-minute thing, but I'm connecting with the earth. I'm connecting with the animals. I'm putting music on in the morning. So I like to listen to, like I call it my psychic music. So it's like the meditation music, or I will listen to like the greats like Mozart, Beethoven, anything like classical, just to kind of, it just brings my bubble down, and I can just be free. Also a shower, a good shower. So I find actually having a shower or a bath, probably one of the quickest ways to clean my energy field. So if you've had a rough day, I can give you an example. The other day, it was over a week ago. I was in Canadian Tire shopping with my daughter, and there was a horrific situation. It was people yelling and then fighting, like fist fighting. And I was like, am I like on candid camera? Like, is this like actually really happening? Like, are people actually at that point where they're so angry that they are raising, fists in anger at each other? And it was a man and a woman, Amber. It was horrific to see, but there were children, and this was and so that immediately depleted my energy. I immediately thought, angels, come in, protect these people, force them to stop this behavior. And actually, that's actually a really good one, calling on the angels, guys. Whenever there's a situation, somebody's angry around you, losing it, frustrated, whatever. If you see like a coworker or somebody that you're out shopping, and you see like one of the staff members looking really just like, because I can't imagine doing that retail job right now in this pandemic during Christmas. I can't even imagine what they're going through. But I send angels to them. I go and sit with them for a minute. Just bring them some positive love, and give them a positive memory of something wonderful to help them raise their vibration, and send good juju. Like I always call it sending good juju to people. It's just so simple, but it can be taxing for us, which is why we have our spiritual crashes, right? So yeah, like that, in those moments when you can't get away from outside forces, it is so important, more than ever, that we do have those little moments. So go and sit in your car, cut the cords. Imagine you have an invisible umbilical cord that's linking you to everybody out in the outside world or in your home. Cut the cord with your fingers. Just cut that cord. Create a bubble of space around you, whatever it takes.
Yeah, Liz, why don't you, do you have an example of a time where you had identified that you were in this crash? Like your energy was just going down, 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 and you were at the bottom, and you were like, what can you share?
Yeah.
Privately,
privately with everybody that's watching and listening. Yeah, absolutely.
But take us through that moment, and then I'll do mine. But take us through that moment of what were you feeling like spiritually, and then how did you identify it, and then how did you get out of it?
Okay, so it was probably about 2 weeks ago. and I was like emotionally, physically drained. So I was preparing my house to get it ready to be photographed to go on the market. So I was just overwhelmed with the daunting prospect of all the tasks that needed to be taken place. Not feeling supported, but I was being supported. I can see that now. But in the moment, I was like, oh, I was a total victim, right? Nobody loves me, nobody wants to help me, and nobody cares but me, right? Which is where we go, right? We go in that little rabbit hole and we start to become victim-y. So I was angry. I was raging internally. I was internally raging. I was so unhappy with my energy that I think you and I tried to do a video, a recording. Do you remember? And you're like, I don't know what's wrong with you. There was something wrong with you.
And that's when we are knowing that we are good enough friends to say, Amber, your energy was off today. Liz, your energy was off today. Let's redo.
Exactly. And you know, folks, like if somebody says to you, is everything okay? Are you okay? That's when it's really critical that you pay attention.
Ding, ding, right? Ding. Like if somebody comes up to you and says, what is going on? Are you all right? Everything all right? Then that usually means your energy is telling a story.
Yeah. Because we do come to the table with a specific energy that, you know, like you guys are used to seeing us. And you'll pick up on stuff in our lives as well, because you're used to seeing us at a certain level. And there will be days where we might be a little chipper, more chipper, or less chipper. You know, like there's going to be those moments. We all go through it because we're human, right? We're human experiencing human stuff. So this in this particular moment where I was feeling that victim, the rage, the sadness, because I couldn't see an end to what I had to complete. I literally went out. I went to the store and I was snippy. I was one of those people in the store. I was snippy to my favorite people down at my local store, and which I apologized for after, but still I was still snippy, and that was unacceptable. And I picked up all the wrong things. So I think I bought like a bag of chocolate bars. I bought a cake. I bought chips. And
sounds like a party.
Yeah, it was a total good. and then I bought like not only did I buy like a chocolate bar, I bought one of the big, you know, honking big chocolate bars. So I then proceeded to just feast on that, and I know why. It's to ground us, right? So the more we eat, the heavier we are, then we'll feel grounded. But then that sugar rush as well, which is like that instant, I feel so much better. No, then you, like, I don't know about you, but when I do those indulging moments, my legs feel like they're on fire, like they're every nerve ending, like it starts in my feet and it works its way up to my shoulders, and I can feel every nerve ending tingling. I don't like it. It doesn't feel pleasant. And yet I know it's going to happen, and yet I do it anyway. And I don't understand why, but it's my way of, instead of going to the obvious, connect with your guides, Liz, take a moment for you. It's that victim energy swirl that you want to maintain, that victim energy. And what better way to maintain victim energy than to cause chaos on your internals, right? You're eating and consuming things that aren't good for you. So it's maintaining victim energy. And it's when you have that final awareness and you're like, oh, so why do I do this to myself? I don't even know why I do this. When I just have to reach out to you guys and say, hey team, can we have a minute? Can we have a minute? Angels, can you come in and just kind of give me some boost here? You know, so much easier.
Overwhelm and feeling like you can't see the end, or there's too much on your plate, is one of the major reasons why we tend to lose our energy. And identifying that, like, I think one of the mantras for me over the years to deal with that is, because I can multitask fairly well, and I can take on a lot more than maybe my husband wants me to. And I always feel like I've got all this on the go. But I always feel like my mantra is this too shall end, like this too shall come to an end. So, you know, that's one of the things I say to my kids, like, this is your season of life right now. It's not, you know, if you're moving, this is a season of life. So yes, you have a whole list like an arm's length, but I mean, it's not, soon you'll be moved in and you'll be fine. And then it'll be like, oh, remember when we had to do all of that, you know? So I think that I did have to go through a lot more so in my 20s where I felt like, okay, now it's all everything every single day. But now, like for my energy, it's a lot of disconnecting from other people. So for instance, last week, I think it was last week, I had a lot of sessions booked. I don't know what the sessions will be from session to
Yeah, you just don't.
So I don't know. It could be from life planning all the way down to, you know, like severe imminent grief.
Yeah.
So I don't know that. But because I'm an empath and because I'm a highly sensitive person, that energy can come on to me and I carry it for others. So that's a thing that an empath does that is not healthy. Like you can't carry it, but sometimes you don't know you're doing that. Because I can tell you firsthand, I don't know that I'm carrying something for somebody because it's not like I'm intending to do that for them. So it's not until I start to feel physically ill, like my whole body is almost drained to the point where it's vibrating. And that vibration doesn't feel good. It reminds me of just before you're going to faint, or if you've ever gone unconscious, it's that kind of like tingling, draining feeling. So when I get to that point, that's my awareness. Now, it took me to get to that point where I'm laying there thinking my feet need to be up, the window needs to be open, and I need to drink a ton of water.
Yeah.
But that's that moment where you're thinking, who am I connected to? Because there's got to be someone. Now, if there are exterior people that, you know, those particular people cannot be connected to your energy. I'm very good at disconnecting from them. So that I know is not the issue. It would be more like I'm still connected to my kid, or I'm still connected to that reading that I had that was very emotional. And then, so when you ask yourself, if you're in that situation, you're thinking, okay, I feel like I'm carrying everything, simply ask your higher self, what am I connected to? What am I carrying? That's not mine. And immediately that will flash back. A memory will come back. It could be 6 months ago, and now you're just too tired of carrying it. So just be open to that thought process coming in or the insight that you get of a reminder, an image, a thought, a feeling, and then forgive yourself for your portion in it. Like forgive yourself. This is helpful for me because I'm not perfect, and none of us are. And there are things that you do the best you can, and others will perceive it to be completely different. So what my lesson is you can be the best that you can be only to a certain extent of what other people will perceive you to be because of their story they're telling themselves. So to disconnect yourself from that and forgive yourself for your part in it, and send love to yourself, to the situation, and to others, because then that will lighten that load and disconnect. So it's something a little bit less forceful. Like there's people that I know I need to keep their energy at bay, but I'll never cut it.
Yeah.
I'll never cut that person's energy.
Yeah.
So it'll just be more like sending that love because that's all we can do in the moment. But that was mine, was like, it was just where I could feel complete just drain. And again, like I said, those are the moments that you will be open to injury, illness, disease, and you can't stay in that for long. But you were talking about staying in that victim energy, and I had this awareness last week because I was working with a client for soul coaching. And it wasn't so much about that particular person as it was of a universal message of, if somebody is always fearful, like they anticipate, message us in this feed. Do you get nervous with getting phone calls or checking the mail? Or like, do you have this constant, like, oh my God, I'm nervous about, or I feel like I'm going to get sick, or I feel like it's going to be bad news? Because that's what we were kind of discussing. And what that awareness came to me was, if you are ultimately always aware or in the idea that something is wrong. So say you've got this ongoing legal issue that you're refusing to kind of fix or address or whatever, and it's kind of haunting you here. you don't maybe want to address it, because once you do, that means now my life is okay again. And what else is going to come? Well, right now I know the negative is here and I'm controlling that energy. So anything else that comes, oh, well, I'm already in fight mode. But once you're in this, like, okay, I'm okay now, you're waiting for that other shoe to drop. You don't want to check the mail. You don't want to answer an unknown caller. So that was that kind of awareness, right, Liz? Is like, if you're constantly feeling like you need to be in that warrior fight mode and you can control what you know to be wrong, then you're not opening up to the idea that something else can come and get you.
That's right. I love the way you explain that, because for many years, I was just waiting for the rug to be pulled out on me all the time. And that happened probably, I can say probably right from my teenage years, right up to my 40s. I was just waiting. So I was living in victim energy for a very long time. So I know it very well. And it doesn't mean that even when you become aware that you're in victim energy, that you'll never go back there because you don't like it. It just means that when you go to victim energy, you are so hyper aware that you're doing it. Sometimes we're like, I don't care that I know. I don't care that I know I'm a victim. I still want to be a victim, damn it. You know, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm still going to be angry. I'm still going to be sad. It doesn't matter. But instead of hanging out there for years or months at a time, you can get out quicker because you're hyper aware now. And being on the spiritual path, you know, following the enlightening path, like we're trying to ascend constantly, right? That's our goal, constant ascension. You're going to stay, you know, flatlined in an area. You know, it doesn't mean that you're not grown spiritually. It just means you're going to hang out in a specific area until you get that lesson. So the spiritual crash is actually a blessing, because it wakes you up, right? Because you have no choice now. I have overindulged, and whatever it is, on energy, drugs, alcohol, food, whatever, tobacco, whatever. Having that awareness, that crash, is actually, I think it's like, oh, here I go again. Why did I do this? And so instead of beating yourself up for that, just go, okay, check, I get it. I'm done now. I'm going to just clean myself up and, you know, wipe my knees off and get back up again, you know? And that's really life's goal, right? You're going to get knocked down. The rug's going to get pulled out, you know, bad things are going to happen, but there's always tomorrow. And there's always that next day thing. And if you can be aware in the moment of the worst moment that it does get better, you'll get out of victim energy a lot faster. But like I said, sometimes we choose to hang out there even though we're aware of it. And I think that's when we start to overindulge, right? On other stimuli to give us what we're desiring, which is full connection, right? We're on this path. We want full connection with our higher self, our team, you know, God, whoever. So it's an interesting thing, that victim energy, and how it really does play into our own self, not demise, that's a wrong word to use, but like, what would be another word, Amber? Like self-defeatism, or, you know.
Yeah, definitely just kind of like having to be validated for that kind of negative spin on things. And I think the other thing too is that, you know, the more that you know, your higher self knows maybe you're not in the right at that moment, you'll need constant validation and reassurance from others, so that you'll find that person going and asking every single person, like, you know, or telling everybody about everything. Where when you know you've done the best to your authentic self, you tend to just feel like, well, I'm okay with this. I've reconciled this within my own self, and the rest will fall where it can. But yeah, just being able to kind of get out of that. And you know what else helps? Crystals.
Yes.
Crystals help
Yes.
a lot.
Do they ever?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So like on my desk, you'll see, I have a ball of selenite.
Weird.
You probably have crystals all around you too. I have an actual bowl. I'll show you, of all my.
This is the selenite that I have.
Yeah, I have one of those upstairs.
This is a selenite tower.
I have like a bowl of all different types of crystals. I have, you know, just my rocks for grounding, and just, yeah, like I surround myself because they definitely absorb and clear and enlighten and you know, shine lights on things for us, which brings me to what what are we offering this month for the crystal of the month, Amber?
Selenite, right? It's selenite, which is, this is not the one that you will be getting. I got this as a gift, but this is selenite that I have, and you can see the texture, kind of, hopefully.
It's beautiful.
It reminds me of an iceberg,
Totally,
or
yeah.
my like the kryptonite.
Yeah, your kryptonite. That's exactly what selenite is like, right? Like this month's crystal being selenite. We ended up going with instead of like because like again, I've got the ball.
Yes.
See it's like it's a globe to absorb. We went with the sticks. They're the wands this month, and here they are. They're 2-inch wands. And the reason we went with these, you get 6 of them this month, because you can place one stick over your front door and one over your back door on the, you know, on the ledge around it, the edging. And what this little guy does is he absorbs and then purifies any energy entering or leaving your home. So anything in the home is constantly being recharged and energized. And, you know, actually, because of my little moment last week or the week before that, where I was explaining how I was having that sort of meltdown, I came and I do this. I play with my ball. Like I just run it through my hands like this, and just constantly. And I was doing that. I never even thought of that, Amber. Like that's so crazy. But I'll play with this, especially if I'm in need of inspiration. I'll sit at my desk and I'll be like, what do I have to come up with today? And it's amazing how this kind of clears the mind and clears all the yucky stuff, right? The stuff we don't want to think about. So yeah, you're going to get 6 of these guys. And so you can put one in your purse. You can put them, I find they're really good for children's bedrooms. If you have children, especially in tune psychic kids, this is one of my go-to to tell parents, pick up some selenite and get that in their bedroom. It's great for night terrors because it draws the negative energy. And if they get visitations from spirit that they don't recognize, because that happens often, it's a good way to, you know, clear the energy or any portals that might be in a house that are attracting children. Make sense?
Absolutely. Those ones are good because you can have, they're like, crystals come in all different shapes and sizes, and, you know, tumbled and finishes and things like that. So these ones are going to be great for all of those uses. And they're so, you know, they're such a good size that you can take them wherever you want. You know, I know people who stick things in their bra or, you know, in their pockets or wherever, so that they can have them close to them, depending on what the stone is that you're actually attracted to. But yes, for the month of December, if you are a Crystal of the Month member, you will receive your selenite. And then Liz and I will be offering insight into that stone and the crystal quartz that the members received last month in a private Facebook group, so that we can give more information and have conversations with members about that. So if you're looking to get involved, then you want to visit crystalofthemonthclub.ca and check that out. And otherwise, you know what, like, I'm just a crystal junkie. So
me too.
Oh, I just love them. It's not even, it never started for me as to, you know, what the, like, the properties.
No, me either. Same with me.
It never started with that.
No, me either. It was like, my husband says I'm like a fish. I'm attracted to shiny things. So look at the shiny thing.
Yeah.
And, right. So we went to, there's a great place out in Arthur. I believe it's Arthur or Fergus. Anyway, north here. And it's called, oh my goodness. Here goes Liz's brain again. You all know this. You all know how Liz does this. I can't think of it. Nice Guys, nice, but it's not spelled Nice. I think it's Nice Guys. Anyways, amazing. He does like an open house twice a year. And I went there for the first time when I heard about it. And the guy's got collections upon collections of everything, and it's all for sale. It's a wholesaler. And I picked up, like, I dropped too much money, but I love it. I love every piece that I have. So I've been there twice. So keep an eye out. We'll be posting on our page if there's any crystal or mineral shows, because those happen as well. Hopefully they'll be happening again this summer when we can get a handle better on what's going on.
And that page is Crystal of the Month Club with Liz and Amber. That is a separate Facebook page, not on Amber Price Clarity Expert, not on Liz Throp Soul Expert, and not on the Insiders. But the one that you want to check out is Crystal of the Month Club with Liz and Amber on Facebook, and we will post little teasers on there. And then for the members, you're in an elite exclusive little group that you'll have all of that information come to you. So go over there, like it, follow it.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're still going to get great insight and exciting stuff on crystals. But, you know, I'm just going to quickly go through here because we're going to be wrapping up early today, folks. We both have busy days ahead. But plain safety instructions, put your mask on first, cause if you're aren't taking care of you, you cannot take care of others. And she's right with the plane. Like, you know, put your mask on before you think of your kids or anybody else. That's perfect. That's a perfect analogy, Tammy. Rhonda says she also goes for drives daily. So Andy says, hi, Andy. She goes, love my mornings with the chickadees. Always grateful. Andy has the chicks, like chickens. So that's very cool.
Cool.
And Tammy says she always calls her angels frequently. That, yeah. You know, guys, I can't even begin to tell you, when you start working with angels, you feel them, you feel their presence, you feel the difference, and you will actually see and bear witness to their effect on others, especially when there's somebody who's aggressive or angry or sad or overwhelmed. Whenever I see a child crying in a store, it breaks my heart every time. I just want to go over and pick them up. And they're just having a rough day and mom's like fed up or whatever. Not that anybody's being or doing anything wrong. I just send the angels out, just go and play with that child for a moment. And you see that child just instantly stop and they're like, huh, you know, and then they start giggling or whatever. Try it. Don't take my word for it. Try it. It's amazing.
You know, it's funny you said about seeing kids that are crying and sending the angels, because my thing is that if I see a child get hurt,
yeah,
so they're playing in the playground or walking down the street and they trip, I actually, my spiritual response is anger. It comes out looking like anger. It's not. It's like, oh my, like what the heck? Like I'm automatically like, why? Like I'm just so upset. But then I asked, because somebody pointed it out and they said, oh my goodness, like, you know, not even your kid, like chill out. And I said, no, I feel not only the physical pain of, oh, I scraped my knee or I, you know, bent my finger back, but I can feel the emotions behind everybody who just witnessed it, and the child, the parent, the whatever. Yeah. And that's not even if it's my child or grandchild or niece or nephew. It's being at the mall or being in the park or, you know, just wherever I was around other people. And it's not just children, even if it's an adult, it's just less likely that I've seen adults get hurt. you know, kids are usually a little bit more excited to get places. And
exactly. Yeah. And when you have grandkids, you're at places like parks and stuff like that. So you're seeing stuff. I'm the same as you. I make audible gasps and it upsets my daughter. She's like, why do you have to do that?
Well, you know, and
well, you can't help it.
Well, it wasn't until I was with my dad. So this would have been maybe 2 years ago. We were at the mall. We had family visiting from Scotland and we took them to the mall, and we were just sitting at the little bistro set, and my dad could see a little girl getting her ears pierced, and she was just a baby. And the scream that she let out, because she just wasn't expecting it, obviously.
Yeah, who is?
She was like, oh, like, and I just kind of jumped because I was like, what is he seeing? Because we're in the middle of a mall. And I was like, what's going on? And he was just like, he looked fit to be tied. And I said, what's wrong? And he says, she's hurt. Like, she's hurt. You know, like he was so like, and that's how I knew. I was like, oh my God, that's how I'm responding to things. Now I could see it in a mirror because my dad and I are very similar, and he's an empath
through and through.
Hardcore. So but it wasn't until I could see the mirror reflection of, wow, I must look actually angry about somebody being hurt, because that's what my dad looked at, and he wasn't. He was just like, oh, you know, he felt.
Yeah. It's so funny. Like, but that's interesting that you know that, right? Like that someone's pointed it out to you. So it's something for all the viewers and listeners to consider. You know, if you do tend to be more leaning towards empath, or you are, pay attention to your reaction or actions when you're around others. How do other people's energies affect you outwardly, right? So it's something to be consciously aware of. But yeah, the old audible response to anything. And my daughter always jokes, she says, you know, when I was growing up, there was never any concern for me. And I'm like, no, I already knew. I knew you were okay. I always had that insight. Like, if you were hurt, I knew I needed to pick you up and run to the hospital. There was 3 incidences where that happened. I go, but every other time I was like immediately calmed. She's fine. It's okay. You know, like when they fall or whatever.
Yeah.
But when I'm around other people's kids, I have the same sense of, you know, that, you know, and my grandkids.
I feel physical pain.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not where they actually were hurt. It's in different chakras. Like I'll feel a physical response in a different chakra.
Yeah.
And so, and this is not me connecting to others. Again, this isn't me choosing to be connected to somebody. This is that just as a human to a human and a spiritual person, that automatic, like highly sensitive energy that I have is tuning in to around me. Just like I know if someone's standing behind me too close, or if I shouldn't be proceeding through the intersection because I have to look left because someone hasn't stopped. It's just that it's just that knowing.
That just happened to Stephanie, by the way, my daughter. She was driving through Niagara Falls. They went to look at the lights the other night. And she goes, Mom, you know, and Stephanie's a very conscious driver. So she never speeds. She always gets mad at me when I do. But she was driving through, like heading to Clifton Hill there. And she had the green light and she slowed down. She slowed down for the green light. And her husband's going, why are you slowing down? It's a green light. She goes, I don't know. I don't know why I'm slowing down. And boom, a car went through the intersection. A big, huge SUV going like 100 through the intersection. She goes, now we know why I slowed down. Mm-hmm. She called me. She was in a fit to be tied, right? Because she goes, Mom, they were like so close to my bumper because I was still going through the intersection, but really slowly. But had I not slowed down, which I don't know why I did, and even Brandon said to me, why are you slowing down? She goes, we would be all dead right now. Yeah. That woman was going way too fast. So it's those moments of hyper awareness. You know, I don't even know why I was going there with this conversation.
No, just the knowing, like you don't know why you're doing something and you're not planning on connecting, but there's just that higher knowing.
And that's
when you do things and you don't like she could have like avoided her higher self and her angels by listening to her husband or someone else in that situation. And then doubted herself. But those are examples of why you shouldn't. But if you are not from Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada, and you have not seen the Festival of Lights, you should definitely do so. Yeah. It has been the busiest I have ever seen it. Yeah. I will tell you that. It has been bumper to bumper every time I've ever gone this year. But it's sparkly things and so light. Pretty. Yeah, it is beautiful.
It's like crystals at night. That's what it looks like.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like we went through it the other day and it took us 2 hours to get through it, but it was okay. Like there's something to look at, right?
Don't have anything else planned. Just
right.
enjoy.
Yeah, just enjoy. Mm-hmm. Well, on that note, I'm just going to say, like, we have to wrap things up here, darling.
Again.
It's that time. And just beginning my awakening, what rocks do you feel would benefit me? Have crystal and amethyst. So this is just a quick question, and a mother's intuition, somebody's saying, and selenite is the one that cancels out G5 energy. Okay, that's Andy saying that. So I would say, Kim, join us on the Crystal of the Month Club, and we'll be talking about those different things. And, you know, having the amethyst is a perfect starter crystal for sure. I would definitely get yourself some selenite because it is it is like a purification, and it clears negative energy. It's a perfect one for that.
Clear
And
quartz too, or crystal
clear
quartz.
quartz as well. Yeah, clear quartz is like, again, like this is the clear quartz, right?
Yeah.
So anything that can help aid you in cleaning and clearing and processing and all of that kind of good stuff is good for you, Kim. Well, girls and gentlemen and my gorgeous Amber, it's been an absolute pleasure.
It's always great to see your beautiful face and to connect your energy. And everybody out there, until we talk to you next week, I hope you have an amazing time. Enjoy the weekend or whatever lies ahead, and be aware of what you're picking up so you don't have that energy crash.
That's right.
Or it's limited.
That's
See
right.
you next
That's
time.
a great note to leave on. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.